Hello everyone and welcome to Claret and Booze. My name's Nick and this is my daily ramble. If you're new to the channel, as always, please subscribe and drop a like on the video as well. It does really help us. I'm going to let you know now, this is kind of probably a bit more of a self-indulgent piece. There's no news in this show. It's going to be talking about the events of the past 24 to 48 hours and, you know, my emotional roller coaster, what I think it means for us and what I think it could mean, you know, moving forwards as well. So yeah, it would have been a very bad day yesterday for me to have come on air and reacted with the mindset that I was in. So I chose not to. I elected not to. Instead, I abused everyone on WhatsApp instead, which I'm sure you'll all hear about. But I blew off steam, got it out of my system, and yeah, I don't know why that's still on the wall. That'll be off moving forwards. Call me petty if you want. But yeah, that's just kind of how I feel about this now. It has left an awful taste in my mouth that Declan Rice has left us to go to Arsenal. And the fact of the matter is, when Declan Rice was standing on the pitch after the final, videoing all of the fans singing one more year, Declan Rice, he's smiling, lapping it up. He'd already signed his contract, or agreed his contract with Arteta at Arsenal. It was just, you know, he knew he was going. He knew he was going. You know, we've had years and years and years of badge kissing and chest beating from Declan Rice. And West Ham fans get connected with players. We do. You know, we're not. They become part of the family. And this one has really hurt. It has really hurt. We know that the rumours have been there for a long time. We know that we should have expected that Declan Rice was going to go, of course. But I don't know. It would have made it a whole lot easier for us if Declan Rice had have moved to Man City, because that would have proved definitively that he's moved on for success to go and win trophies, which is what we've heard from Dec in the past. But he's not done that. You know, he's moved 10 miles up the road to North London for a club that it's their first year in the Champions League for 7 years. They've never won the Champions League. They're not going to win the league anytime soon. They had the best chance last year. That's not me being salty. That's my honest belief. Even with Declan Rice, I don't think he elevates them to compete with Man City and the other superpowers. He just doesn't. He might win a League Cup or an FA Cup, I suppose. Could do. But look, I just think that has really, really kind of proved that Declan Rice wanted to just get out of West Ham. That's what he wanted. You know, he wanted to go to a slightly more fashionable club because he's all about the brand. And in no time at all, he's going to be kissing Arsenal's badge and he's going to be saying the same shit to them that he was saying to us a month ago, 2 months ago. Best fans in the world, you know, love this club more than anything. He'll be saying all that same self-promoting PR shit to Arsenal as well. And yeah, you feel raw because you kind of buy into it as a West Ham fan. And I think it's made it even worse this last few years. And I think the reason, I mean, look, I'm 43. And you think to yourself, my God, I should be past getting connected to players like that. But you do. You hang on to things as a football supporter. You do. The style of football's been crap for years. It's been awful. So you align yourselves with players in the team. That's what you go and support, you know. How can you not get connected with them? And we all loved Declan Rice. There's no two ways about it. We did. And for a lot of people, there'll be no backlash. They'll still be full of admiration for Dec. They'll understand why he's done what he's done, and they'll be fully in support of what he's doing moving forwards. But there will be a large portion of people that are not, that Declan Rice is now dead to as a player, that will feel very, very deceived by what he's done and hurt. And I can get that as well. And that's kind of where I sit. You know, I'm not the most forgiving of people, and I'm not jealous of Arsenal. I'm surprised by Arsenal that they've coughed up this much money because, like I say, I don't think Declan Rice necessarily lifts them to the level that they probably need to go to. He helps get them there to compete long term for top 4 places when you consider the competition and go on and win the very best trophies. I don't think it does. I think they're still a million miles away. But look, they've done it. You know, fair play to them. You know, they've played this very well. They've been tapping Dec up for the best part of a year. You know, who knows how long the conversations have been going on. There's some really kind of damning stories going about, but you can't let yourself get wrapped up in it. Some of it may be nonsense. The fact is, he's gone. He's gone. I know it's not official yet, but I'm not sitting there on Twitter waiting for the fucking signature and the eyeballs that he's gone. He's gone. You know, he was gone after the final. It's happening. He ain't coming back to West Ham. And, you know, there's been a lot of talk on social media about, you know, is he a legend? Is he this? You know, I don't even care. You know, to me, no, he's not. He's not. Especially leaving the way that he's left. You know, now, no, he's not. He could have been. He could have been. You know, if I was Dec, I would have probably lived as a legend at West Ham for a year and enjoyed the fruits of my labour from winning that cup with the club. You know, really kind of built on that. But he hasn't done that. You know, it's almost like he was going this summer, irrespective of what happened. So no, for me, he's not a legend. He's probably more in the Scott Parker mould. If I'm being honest with you, for me, out of the two players that have gone this summer, if you're talking about legends, I think Lanzini's got more legend status for me than Declan Rice now. You know, because I think it's down to a lot more than what you've done and everything else. There's a lot of facets involved, and like I say, Declan Rice has basically been blowing smoke up our asses for the past year. He's never once committed to us in 4 years. We've had contract offers on the table long before Declan Rice was world class. He has not committed to West Ham, and that's through good times and bad times. And there have been good times. He's never committed to us. He's never wanted to stay. He's proved definitively that West Ham are a stepping stone for young talent that want to build themselves up and make the best of you know really get themselves on the stage for big clubs to come in and snap them up. You know, the fan base is the best as well because we are hopeless romantics. We do fall in love with players. We do build them up and blow them out of all proportion. It's kind of what we do. So that helps players develop as well. You know, when we do embrace you, we embrace you properly, and it's a great environment for people to evolve and grow. Listen, not everybody is going to be like Dec. They're not. You know, we have got other players still at the club. We've still got Jared Bowen, who I would hope would stick around for the long term. But you just don't know nowadays, do you? You just don't know, and it does leave a bad taste in the mouth. You're hearing stories now about Paqueta, another player that we're all falling in love with. There's not a rumour. He's changed his agent, and now there's other clubs that are coming knocking at the door. Now that doesn't happen unless the agents are sniffing around, looking for deals, and that's under instruction from their client. So there's another player, but again, you know, you're hearing stories, so many stories of players from last season that are now looking for a move. Is there more to it than meets the eye? You know, if there's got to be a reason why. It can't just be West Ham. And I think I know what that reason is. Many people won't agree with it, but I think it is basically David Moyes, and his style of football is just fucking repugnant, you know? It's bad enough to watch. Imagine being constrained as a player within that system for a long period of time. You know, you're not encouraged to express yourself and make the best of yourself. You're not. It would be completely frustrating to be involved in that. And we've heard from Warburton in not so many words that he completely disagreed with David Moyes' tactics on many occasions. That is what he said. He's had to leave because we're going to fall out. I can't just carry on watching it. That's basically what Warburton said. So yeah, that could be a reason. It could be a deciding factor. It wouldn't surprise me. You know, why would you want? Like I said to you, Declan Rice. If you're looking at it from the outside in, and you're looking at those two teams, you've got one team that are building a young, dynamic team. You know, playing really exciting flair football, and then you've got David Moyes at West Ham, you know, boring the tits off of people, which is what he does off of the fans and the players within that system. So when you look at it from the outside in, it's no surprise really. I do think that because by virtue of the fact that Declan Rice has only moved to Arsenal, I'll stand by it. I think if we'd have let David Moyes go a year ago, we'd have got in an exciting manager in the Arteta mould that plays a similar style of football, started bringing in younger players rather than Dec having to work with a load of fucking old players, you know, one of the oldest squads in the league, started making it a little bit more of a project because it isn't a project, then do you know what? Maybe his head could have been turned. So I don't know. Maybe my anger is misdirected. I haven't got a clue. But all I do know is that My coping mechanism is Declan Rice is gone. He's gone to Arsenal. So I don't wish him all the best at Arsenal. I don't. Far from it. So that's that. Declan Rice is now dead to me. Now he will become an Arsenal legend. You know, if he goes there and he wins trophies with Arsenal, he'll be an Arsenal legend. They'll have a trophy with him. He is now a gooner. He is no longer a hammer. So good riddance to Declan Rice now from this point. This will be the last time really that I'm going to talk about him. Don't want to anymore. It's been boring me anyway. The saga's been boring me for so long. In one sense, I'm glad it's over. Would have preferred him to have stayed, but now he's gone. At least we can move on. But what does moving on look like? What does it look like? Now, I am sorry. I am feeling quite down and morose about things at the minute. There are things to be encouraged about. We've got Tim Steaton, whatever his name is, a top-end, elite director of football coming into the club. But look, we're late to the director of football party. There are very few Premier League clubs that haven't got a director of football. You know, some of them do it better than others. The majority do their recruitment now on data. You know, it's all data driven. So the majority of players that we're going to be looking at, they're going to be the same players are going to be on the radars of so many other teams. It's not groundbreaking what we're doing. It's not. The only thing that concerns me is, as good as this guy, Tim Steaton, is, you know, there aren't many directors of football that are going to have to work in an absolute nightmare sandwich between David Sullivan and David Moyes. You've got David Sullivan, who's going to be, you know, dipping his fingers in and just getting involved when he doesn't need to, and then you've got David Moyes, who doesn't provide a nurturing environment that will be right to develop young talent, which is the type of player that Tim Steaton, I'll call him, is associated with bringing in. You know, you need to nurture these players. You need to trust them. You need to mentor them. You need to back them when they fail. You've got to keep on getting them in. That's how you develop players. Otherwise, you end up with the Flynn Down scenario where you bring them in, you don't play them in their strongest position. You never give them a chance in their strongest position. They play well, they don't come back in, and then when they play bad, they get phased out, and then the fan base and everyone else goes, oh no, they was never good enough for the Premier League anyway. We'll never know. Flynn Downs was never really given the right bedding in for us to identify whether or not he was good enough. I suspect he could have been a very solid player, but from what we're hearing, I think David Moyes wants him out, and that will happen with any other prospect. You know, Declan Rice, if David Moyes had been there the whole way through Declan Rice's career, Declan Rice would not be Declan Rice. He'd have been forgotten because David Moyes would not have trusted him through his blips at the start. He just wouldn't have. You know, he certainly wouldn't have pushed him from defence into central defensive midfield. He wouldn't have done that. So this is what I'm saying to you. There are stories of success with David Moyes, but it's more with older players, and it's always the same thing. It's just because he can't work with a striker and he just wants his forward to run after lost causes, he converts a winger to a striker. He's got quite a high success rate at that. You know, Arnie and Antonio. That's it. But we're going to need more. If you've got this guy that's coming in with this portfolio of talent, Tim Steaton, which is exciting, right? It is. You know, 100 million or whatever he's going to have to spend is a lot of money to give to someone that knows how to spend it. So I've got no qualms that this guy's going to identify and uncover some really good players. But they're rough diamonds. They're going to need to be created. And once we've bought them, like I say, the environment's got to be right for them to grow and develop and realise their full potential. But we're not providing him with that. So I don't know how it's going to go. I think it's a disaster waiting to happen. If you look at how long David Moyes will last, I don't know. How much level of control Tim Steaton has got, I don't know. When he was director of football at Leverkusen, 4 years, he went through 4 head coaches, 4 of them. So in the first 2 years, he had Peter Bosch, B-O-S-Z, or however you pronounce his name. I think that's his name. And he had 3 more managers after that. The last one was Xabi Alonso. 2 years was a maximum. Then there was 100 days, and there was 18 months, and then Xabi Alonso was 8 months. This guy does not care about changing things if they're not working. You know, if he sees something isn't working, he's clearly decisive, and he'll go, bang, no, that's not right. Let's get someone else in. That's what he does. But is he going to be backed to do that at West Ham? You know, he'll go to David Sullivan if he sees something isn't right with David Moyes and says this guy is not right. He's not developing players. You know, it could be a quarter of a way through the season. We need to save this season. We've got to get rid of him now. Sullivan will go, nah, give him 3 months, give him 6 months. Let's see how he does. You know, will he be allowed to be a director of football operations and take those big decisions? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. Something does need to change. The one thing that I hope that we don't do is that we don't go out and do the big marquee signing thing to try and soften the blow of losing Declan Rice and risk wasting that money we've just made on him. I don't want us to go out and spend 50, 60 million on a player that we're going to unveil in the new kit just to soften the blow as a PR stunt. I don't want that. I want us to change direction now. I just want that money to be given to this guy. And if it means 20 million pound players, so be it. You know, it needs to be players that have been identified as part of a strategy. You know, if you look at before this summer's spend, because at present we're not a project. You know, David Moyes talks about projects. There is no fucking project. There never has been. He makes it up as he goes along, the same as Sullivan does. You know, we've still got one of the oldest squads in the Premier League, and he spent the same amount of money in the same amount of time as Mikel Arteta. But look at that versus what coming into this window versus what David Moyes has created. It's not a project, you know. We've been riding on the coattails of Declan Rice. Let's have it straight. If we hadn't have had Declan Rice for the past 2 years, 3 years, we would never ever have achieved anywhere near the finishes that we've achieved in the league, and there certainly wouldn't have been any European adventures off the back of it. So we do have a lot, I suppose, to be grateful for in that sense to Declan Rice, you know, because I do believe it's more due to him than David Moyes. But this is where we're going to see. This is where we're going to see how we can cope in that environment. Because, yes, we've still got Lucas Paqueta for the time being, but it's Lucas Paqueta minus Declan Rice covering his arse when he runs forward. We've got to fill that void. We've got to change it up. So, look, I'm happy it's all over. I'm not happy. I'm not, you know. Congratulations, Arsenal. You're going to got yourselves a good player. Whatever. Now it's down to us to see what we can go on and do. I don't know. I haven't got much faith. But it's down to West Ham to prove to us that they know what they're doing. They should have been succession planning for years because Declan Rice has been leaving for 4 years. So it shouldn't be a massive body blow when Declan Rice leaves. We've had so much time to prepare for this. So if it's caught us cold and we're going to have to go through a year of life after Rice, he's a fucking CDM at the end of the day. That's what he is for us. Let's have it straight. Declan Rice sits in front of our back four. He's an excellent player. He's a great player. But for West Ham, he's shackled to protecting our defence. And he does the odd little lung-busting run where he transitions from ball recovery to attack. That's basically his role within our team. So if we can't replace that, then there's something wrong. I think he'll go on to be more than that in a different team. When he is set free, I think he will become the perfect box-to-box player. But like I say, time will tell. Anyway, look, that's it from me. I'm sure you didn't enjoy that. Like I say, it was a self-indulgent video. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments anyway. And we'll be back soon, hopefully, to talk about something fucking different. That's kind of where I am at the moment. All right? I'll speak to you soon. Come on, you irons.